I know a bunch of you have been having issues with your cluster on Acura TSX first generation from 2004 to 2008. The issue that I had here in this vehicle is all these needles on the cluster were dropped way below where they're supposed to be. Like this needle right here would be right here. And when it started, the needle would just move here and not show correctly, as if the RPMs were not moving. This gauge would not show correctly. This gauge would also be behind and also not show correctly. So what I had to do, and actually the fuel gauge was the same way, so it was way below zero and it wouldn't work correctly even upon the start of the vehicle. I couldn't sell this car, so I had to do something. I had to first remove the cluster. I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. This panel right here, that's the first thing that you take out. There's a screw right here that holds this panel in place. So you take out that screw and just slowly pull it out. There are clips, 1, 2, 3, and the panel just comes right off. Then there's another panel underneath right here. Fairly simple. It's held simply by a cup. I'm sorry. It goes this way. That's just a noise reducer. So it's held by 3 clips. And then there's a piece right here, that it just goes in prior to the clips going up. Pull it down, pull it out. Now you have access to unscrew 2 screws above here. They're usually 8mm. Sometimes if somebody has been in there before and they lost those screws, they might have regular screws in there. You just simply get in and you undo those 2 screws that are holding on the cluster from being able to pull out. The 2 screws, one goes here, one goes in there. Just kind of measure it out, go under there. Move the steering wheel all the way up. You'll be able to get access to those screws. Loosen them up, unscrew them fully. You'll be able to pull this cluster right out. You can use a pick like this. Just get in there, pull it out just a little bit. The rest you could do with your fingers. It comes straight out pretty easy. All right, so here's the cluster. This is the glass that you see when you look at the cluster while it's in there. It's very simple. Remove these 2 tabs. One is for the information on the cluster. The other one is for the lighting. Pretty easy. It just snaps. The glass is just snapped in. Pull the tabs back. Pull the tabs back. All around. Pull the glass out. Here's where you're going to be. So this is how the cluster looks when it's incorrect. If it's in an incorrect position, all these needles are going to be either dropped all the way below where it's supposed to be, or they're going to be erratically positioned when the cluster is off. All you have to do is just simply realign them to the 0 position where the beginning position is supposed to be. Sometimes just a little bit below. So this fuel gauge has to be just a little below. As you know, a lot of times the gauges could be a little bit below 0, just like they could be a little bit above top when the cluster is working and functioning properly. So I realigned these. I also used the scanning tool just to verify my position on the live data to see whether or not the temperature gauge is working correctly and showing more or less correctly. Normal temperatures for these cars are between 90 and 100 Celsius. So about between 190 to about 210 on the Fahrenheit, I would think. And the RPMs you could get from the live data, just to make sure that it aligns correctly with your RPM cluster. This is pretty easy. Now, I just put the key in, turn the cluster on, boom. My temperature gauge is working, my fuel gauge is working correctly. Start the vehicle. My car is already warm. So my RPM should be right between 0.8 and 0.9. That's exactly where it is right now. We could verify that with the scan tool just to make sure everything is working correctly. And at this point, it looks to me that the cluster is working and functioning properly. All I have to do now is just put everything back together, take it on the road, make sure that my speedometer is working correctly, which we'll verify after I drive it. This is how you fix the erratic needles on your cluster on these Acura TSXs. I would think that you could do this even with the TLs and other Acura models or Honda models too. Good luck to you guys.